Hey folks, I'm Mike. Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/Inkdependence. It keeps this blog ad-free. Hey folks, I'm Mike, and this is Inkdependence. Today we have a special treat, and that treat will come in this box. This is a big old box from Aurora. It was sent out to me by Carrie Yeager at Kenro Pens for review. So I didn't buy this pen, and I have to give it back. So what I'm going to do in the next, little bit is tell you, what's going on with this pen, what I think about it after some prolonged usage. I've had it for a while, and I got to give it back to Carrie. He's not getting too grabby about it, but I feel bad having this pen for so long, even though I kind of really like it. So that's the short version of this review. Anyway, it comes in this box. I have to scoot way back to get this box in the frame because it's big inside this big box. Stuff over here. You know, one of these boxes has a fold-down little tray. I think that's a great feature in a box like this. You're going to have a massive box with a nice presentation. You better be able to get this other box out of here. This is a leatherette box. It's got a little embossing of Aurora there. It looks very fancy. This is the kind of box I can imagine somebody keeping on a shelf or on a desk, that sort of jazz. I took the pen out of here because, well, it's over here on the table ready to be reviewed. And you can see in here you get sort of this like leatherette pillow thing you always have in a box. You can take it out. There's documentation in there. You might find ink cartridges, that kind of jazz underneath there. It says Aurora, established 1919, Italy, etc. The story goes that all the Aurora stuff is made in-house, from like converters on down to nibs and feeds and all that sort of thing. I haven't been to that factory, but that sounds cool, so I hope it's true. Let's go ahead and close this up. Man, look at that. Bam, right? So let's go ahead and close this up, put this guy away, and take a look at the actual pen. That's what we're here for, right? Pens, not boxes. But pens and boxes come together. So, okay, here we are back at the desk, and this is the pen that we've been looking for. This is the Aurora 88. That's what comes in that very fancy box, on that very fancy pillow inside the other box. This is a black cigar-shaped pen. It's a pretty... pretty common shape, I suppose. And to tell you the truth, I wasn't super excited when Carrie said he was going to send me this. Even though I know that the Aurora 88 is one of those pens that has like a storied reputation and is supposed to be a very good pen. I was like, well, it's a black pen with gold trim. I don't really do black pens with gold trim. That's not really my jam. Actually, over here, as you can see my setup, none of those are really black pens with gold trim, but I do have a bunch of black pens, it turns out. We'll look at those later and how they compare to this one. You can see this is got a glossy sort of piano black going on. It has a very nice gold band across the waist of the pen that just says Aurora and nice script there. It doesn't have anything else. There's no other branding on here, at least not on the pen body. The clip, as you can see, is just a bare clip. There's nothing there either. It doesn't say 88 anywhere. In fact, I had to look up and figure out what this pen was, because Carrie called it an 800, which is the model number of this thing, which is a large 88 in this black and gold finish. And if you look it up online, you might be able to find it that way. There are going to be a few things that'll help you find this online and distinguish it from other Auroras. Other things to notice: it has a very nice clip on it. Look at that. There we go. Focused in. Solid. It's a nice gold clip. Gold plate, anyway. Solid gold, no, not at all, but gold plate. It's not a solid ball on the end. It actually does fold over here, and if you look at the bottom, you can see some little tiny splits. They don't seem to catch in anything, and you really don't notice them because of the glossy material. But I've used this on my pockets. I tend to keep a pen on my shirt pocket when I'm wearing a dress shirt, and I keep it on a placket, where the buttons are when I'm, sometimes then. If I don't have like a breast pocket, I'll keep it there. And it's held it there just fine. I've had no problems. This isn't a pen that I would put in my pants pocket due to like price, but we'll talk about that here at the end. Down at the bottom, you see it has a nice gold band down here as well as a sort of typical cigar shape there. And this is, you'll notice, kind of long because this is actually a piston knob. This is a piston-filled pen, not cartridge converter. And so in order to tell how much ink you have, it has a nice ink window. And there's, I don't know if we can see. Yeah, there you go. I put my hand behind it. You can see, get this little cat hair out of there. You can see this, bubble there. You can sort of see through the ink window. It's doing its job. I've got this inked with Aurora black, so black matches the barrel, and so you can't really see through there. But when the pen is new, you can see through it, so that's pretty cool. I don't want to work the piston. I will tell you the piston works fantastically. It feels good. It feels as good as I don't know what else is great. Like a Pelican, it feels great like a Pelican converter. It's an excellent converter, piston. Pelican piston. So this one is a really good piston. I don't know what's inside it. I don't think it's going to be a brass piston, but you can't tell because the body's solid. I haven't taken this apart. I don't know how, and I don't think I'm gonna. So I don't really know what the innards are, but it feels too light, I think, to be brass. It's probably a plastic piston rod, but it feels good. The piston's very smooth action. The nib on this pen is really beautiful. I kind of can't stop looking at this nib when I'm writing with it. It's one of those nibs you just kind of have to notice. It's got a whole, let me see if I can get even closer. Yeah, I can. So it's got some very nice scroll work there. It says 14K, it says Aurora at the bottom. There are some teeny tiny numbers right here, which I can't see even with my naked eye. If I pull out a loop, actually, let me pull out a loop. Okay, pull out a loop. Can we bring those out? It says, come on now. 485 is what it says on there underneath this this loop. Yeah. Anyway, let's go ahead and use some of that for some magnification. And look at that nib. It's just gorgeous. I really like the way the Sailor nibs wrap around the edge of the feed. I think that's a very graceful and a very attractive look. It's very classy. It gives it kind of a conical shape without being exactly conical. I think it's very cool. Down here on the bottom of the nib on the feed, let's see, can I get the light to shine on it again? Come on. Put some light directly on this guy. Maybe that'll help out a little bit. There's the F. And you can just barely make it out. In fact, I didn't find this F for fine nib for quite a while. I just didn't find it. I was like, yeah, I think it's a fine nib because it feels fine. But there's the F. And this is a nice ebonite feed. It's got kind of a reddish hue to it like you will get with some ebonites. But black ebonite feed. This has been a great performer. I really like the way it feels in my hand. I have pretty big hands, as you know, and unposted, this pen feels great. It's got a nice little bump here for your fingers to rest against. I tend to hold fairly close to the bottom, and that's perfect for me. So if you hold up here, the threads up here are pretty smooth. I don't think it's going to bother you at all. You got the ink window there. It's kind of smooth. It's a nice tiny step from the body down to the ink window. It's a very small step, as you can see there. Not much to write home about, so that's not going to bother you if you hold high. But in the hand, this thing, it feels great. It's the perfect length, I think, and the perfect weight. It doesn't have a whole lot of weight to the body, although it has sort of like a very solid feel to it, if you know what I mean. Posted, I think it works pretty well posted. I've used it posted and that sort of thing, but if you write with it very long posted, it does get a little bit tiresome. So I would say probably don't post. I think it throws off the balance a little bit too much. There's a little bit more weight in the cap due to the bands and the clip and all that jazz, where this feels perfect. So for me, not posting this pen. I really like it this way. So there you go. All right, so that's sort of the fit and finish of this pen. They are fantastic. I've got no complaints in the looks department, even though I don't usually go for black pens. And I say that, and then I'm going to show you a whole tray full of black pens. So, there you go. And some are even black and gold. So, here are some exemplars of sizes and such that you might be familiar with. Let's turn this off. The sun just came out, so we don't need the lamp. This right here is a tactile turn gist. This has got the Damascus finial on it, which you can't really see right now, but a little bit. Next to it is the Sailor Progear. This is the standard size Progear, not the small, just the regular size, no King of Pen or anything like that. Regular Progear, which is exactly the same size as the gist. I hadn't actually noticed that, but it's totally the same size. Next to that, Lamy 2000, of course. Everybody knows this pen. And then next to that is the Aurora 88, and it's just about the same length as the Lamy 2000. It's a little bit shorter, just a hair shorter, I think, than that pen. I'm turning the light back on. The sun keeps going behind clouds here today, so having to guess about lighting. This is the standard 1911, or not standard, the large 1911 from Sailor. It's just a bit longer. It's basically like a finial longer. Next to that is the Pilot Custom 74, which probably looks the most like this Aurora 88. And then down here on the end, a truly massive pen. This is the Pelican M1000 in black and gold. So I've got a few pens in black and gold now. This one, of course, I have to give back, sadly. But nonetheless, very cool. So, size-wise, it matches up almost perfectly with the Lamy 2000 and with a little bit smaller than the Sailor 1911 large. So if you like that 1911 large size, which I know matches up to one of the Mont Blanc pens, and I cannot think which one it is because I don't have any Mont Blancs and I'm not a Mont Blanc aficionado. So if you want to compare it to Mont Blancs, compare a Mont Blanc to the 1911 and compare it to the Aurora 88. Just knock off like a fraction of an inch. This pen is about 5-ish and a half inches long when it's capped like this, 5.3 inches, 5.11 inches uncapped. So it gets a bit shorter, but not a whole lot, because, there you go. There's not a whole lot of length left in the cap once you put the pen in there. Posted, it's quite a bit longer, 6.5 almost. And then at the section, actually kind of perfect. I was going to just write these out, but I'll just tell you. It has this nice kind of slope to the section. Up here, it's it's like almost 12 millimeters. I know I switched from imperials to metrics, but whatever. So about 11.7 millimeters up here near the threads, and it sort of tapers down to a little over 10 millimeters, but then it's got this nice flare. So for me, I prefer 10 millimeters around that anyway as the section diameter, and so this is kind of perfect for me, and I'm glad he sent it out because, man, I would not even have looked at this on a table, honestly, but it turns out great pen for me. So there you go, there it is. So let's do a writing sample right quick with this Aurora. I will warn you that my writing with a fine nib is subpar. That's just the truth. And I'm not going to try to sugarcoat that. But because I'm used to writing with mediums, I'm used to writing with broads, I'm used to writing with music nibs, and so this is not exactly my wheelhouse. Come on, let's focus. Really having a hard time there. Okay, cool. So anyway, let's go ahead and see what's going on here. This is the Aurora 88. It has a fine nib. It is 14 karat, and it is gold colored. I really think it's a very attractive nib, as I said. I'm a big fan of this one. You can see my writing is a little bit spidery. This is a pretty stiff, fine nib as far as nibs go. It's not going to have much flex or anything like that. Don't push on this nib. That's a terrible idea. You can get like very minor line variation, but it's so minor. I don't feel comfortable at all putting any weight on this nib. It's a perfectly good writer without any pressure at all. Just sort of drag it along if you like, and it writes perfectly. It is inked with Aurora Black, which is a fairly wet black ink. Well, very wet ink, if you ask me. But it has no problem writing every time. And sometimes I don't use this for a few days, and I've never had this nib dry up on me. It's great. So trust this nib and feed is going to be awesome. It's got a little bit of feedback. I don't know if you can hear it. Let me move my microphone closer to it. Hold on a second. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so it's got a little bit of feedback, but not all that much, really. And it doesn't feel scratchy. It's not a scratchy nib. It's just got a little bit of feedback to it. That's because it is kind of a nail, and I do think that they... there we go. I do think that they curve the tipping down just a little bit. Maybe it's just like, I don't know, a trick of the light or something, but the tipping is a little bit wedge-shaped, and it's a little bit, down curving. So it gives you this nice feel on the paper. I think it's fantastic. I'm a big fan of it. I wanted to give you a little bit of something from Audrey's hand. So here she is writing a Doctor Who quote for us. We love the Doctor Who, and her hands are way different from mine. So I wanted to show, her writing with the pen and that sort of thing. This is actually, I think, maybe the first time she's written with this pen. So if she's, she's still kind of like moving her fingers around a little bit and sort of getting like a different feel for the thing. But this is what it looks like when a person with normal size hands writes with the pen. There you go. Now back to the regularly scheduled program, as I've said. Now, here's the thing that I am not a huge fan of, and that is the price. Price is, well, misrip, which is going to be high, of course, but the misrip on this thing is $6.95, according to the Kenro website. So, yikes, right? This puts this pen up in the sort of... I don't know, the sort of price range where you like gasp and check yourself a little bit. If you're me and you're living on like a professor's salary, I don't think I'm gonna buy one of these. Not because I don't like it, because I really do like it, but $6.95, yikes. I mean, I know that's the misrep. Street price is what is this? $4.95. So street price is a couple $100 less, and that's cool. But I mean, still $495. I've lived in apartments that didn't cost me $495 a month. I don't know. I'm not really comfortable spending that much. So that's my only quibble about this pen. But as far as well, here's my second quibble. I have to keep going like this, and actually, I keep this little cloth around, and I go like this quite a bit because this sucker picks up fingerprints because it's a glossy black pen. Any black pen is going to pick up fingerprints. It's going to pick up like little bits of lint. And so if you're a little bit freaked out by lint and that sort of thing, this might not be the thing for you. Of course, if that's the case, then none of the glossy black pens are going to be for you. So there you go. All right, so that's kind of all I'm going to say about the Aurora 88. I know it's been like 18 minutes according to my little clock here. So let's wrap it up. This is a gorgeous pen. It writes perfectly every single time. Oh, let me show you something else. Hey Mom, if you're watching, I'm fixing to show some of your doodles. So there we go. My mom was here at Christmas, and I had this pen. Oh, I have had it since Christmas, haven't I? So a couple of months. Yeah. So I need to give this back. Anyway, this is what this guy looks like. I guess this is supposed to be me. I think I've filled in a little bit over here on the beard anyway since then. But she says, Aurora, no scratching, Aurora black, very smooth. And she wrote a bunch of times on here that it's just no work to write with this pen, which I demonstrated by just dragging it gently across the page. No work to write with this pen. It is great. And her handwriting is much better than mine when it comes to fine nibs. I need a big nib to make my handwriting look even okay. So anyway, this is a great pen to write with. If you don't mind the price tag, go get yourself an Aurora 88. There are several cool finishes. I know Matt over at the Pen Habit had a what do they call them, the Soleil, which is a bright orange one. They've got the Sagaro now, which is kind of like a wood grain sort of thing. But they come in a satin finish. I saw over at Anderson Pens. Same misrep, I think, for the satin finish over there. Or not misrep, street price, about $4.95. So pretty expensive pen, but the satin finish looks cool too. And I might go for a satin finish over the gloss. But either way, beautiful pen, writes perfectly, performs flawlessly. And that's all there is really to say about that. So that's the Aurora 88. Thank you very much for sending this out to me, Carrie at Kenro, and I'll have this safely back in your hands very soon. So, all right, that's it. Thank you very much. I am Mike. This has been Ink Dependence, and if you check out these very fine videos and links over here, you'll see video links over at the side that'll show you my last video that I posted. It'll show you videos that they think you'll like. Also on the right hand side, you'll see a couple of links, one for Patreon to help support this vlog and maybe fund things like Aurora 88s, and the other one to subscribe to this channel. So subscribe, like, thumbs up, comment, and I will see y'all next time. Peace out.